Welcome, everyone. You're listening to the Inner Stuff podcast with me, Dimi, your host. And I just would like to say how deeply grateful I am that you're here, and I hope you enjoy. Rewriting our story. Okay, we are natural storytellers. As humans, we are storytellers. We are narrating our stories. We are telling our story, our life story, every single day to people we meet and to ourselves. The beautiful thing is we can rewrite our story. We can rewrite our main story or stories within our lives. Our stories are like Play-Doh. You know that stuff we played with when we were little children and we molded them into shapes or any kind of shapes that we wanted? Our stories are just like that. You can rewrite your breakup story. You can rewrite your career story. You can rewrite your childhood story. And no, I do not mean disregard what happened to you and make a new fake story. What I mean is how you tell your stories, your perception of your stories. Do you tell them where you're the victim? Or do you tell your stories as the hero in your story? Are you the hero in your story? Your life story is the narrative you tell yourself and others about your life and what has happened in it. The story we tell ourselves about who we are right now, this is what our reality is equal to. Our reality is equal to the story we tell ourselves. The way we talk, feel, think, act, walk, show up, react is equal to the story we tell ourselves. Here are some examples of stories. For example, a lot of us will say, I have always been like this because, or I was abused as a child by my uncle and that's why I can't achieve anything. People always treat me a certain way. I always attract the same kind of people in my relationships. This is just the way I am, and so on. I'm sure you've said these or you've heard your friends or family say these stories. We all say them. This is actually how we form our identity. We combine our life experiences and then we embody them, which turns into our story of ourselves that is constantly evolving. To be clear, our identity consists of all our memories, the events that have happened in our lives, all our experiences, values, and relationships. The values in which you hold within your identity determines the choices you make. Your values are your beliefs that guide you to act one way or another. I hope I made that simple. Why would we want to rewrite our story though? Well, if you care about your future, which I'm sure that you do, I would like to inform you that your future is highly dependent on the way we tell our stories. The way we remember what has happened to us, and then the way we retell those stories literally shapes your personality. This life story of ours combines our past, present, and imagined future. Our story of ourselves is continuously evolving based on all the experiences we are having. Your entire identity and view of the world is a story. We have so many experiences and events in our past. What I mean is everything in your past is an experience. Everything in your past is an event. Everything in your past is an event. No matter how teeny tiny it is, it's an experience that has happened. So taking that information, who you believe you are, is based on stories you tell about yourself, which has come from all these events and experiences you have had since the moment you were born. When you create meaning, then you create a lens through which you see the world. I will read a really powerful quote from B.J. Neblet. Here it is. We are the sum of our total experiences. Those experiences, be they positive or negative, make us the person we are at any given point in our lives. And like a flowing river, those same experiences and those yet to come continue to influence and reshape the person we are and the person we become. None of us are the same as we were yesterday, nor will be tomorrow. That quote just sums it up. Your stories are what make up who you think you are, and it's what determines how you are going to show up in this world. If you listened to my podcast on Ho'oponopono, I mentioned how our problems are just memories replaying. With that logic, it goes without saying, your internal conversation, that chatter in your mind, is infused with memories. Your internal chatter is infused with memories. The monkey mind, the chattering one, it is infused with memories. So where do we begin if we have a lifetime of events, memories, and programming? Well, we obviously know that we cannot change our past. However, we can change how we view our past, how we retell our past. Remember, we are storytellers. We are natural storytellers. I am sure you've heard that forgiveness sets us free, right? I am sure you've heard of that. Well, it does. And I believe that as long as we hold onto blame or anger, fear, and the habit we have of replaying some traumatic events, we won't be able to write our new stories. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy to forgive. I'm not taking away the importance of your past, especially if you've had quite a traumatic past. I am not in any way disregarding what has happened to you. But remember, forgiveness is for you and nobody else. Forgiveness will set you free. And it's not about lying to yourself that certain traumatic events happened. It's about setting yourself free from them so they don't hold you anymore. It is about reframing your not so great experiences to see them in a different light. I will be doing a separate episode purely on forgiveness, so keep an eye out for that. It is a tough topic, which I understand, and I would love to clarify more on that. But back to rewriting our story. While rewriting your new story, you will feel challenged a bit, maybe some discomfort, and this will pass. Change always is difficult, we know that. I want you to keep in mind that you will create a new normal, a new normal. This is incredibly important to understand. Your current normal can be changed. It's like Play-Doh. It's like Play-Doh. You gotta think of it like Play-Doh. If you don't know what Play-Doh is, I don't know what other words might be used in other countries, but it's that colorful dough that you played with when you were a child. I want you to think of your stories like that. Change is difficult. We know that. But remember, if nothing changes, nothing will change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay? I mentioned earlier that the way we remember what has happened to us and then the way we retell those stories literally shapes your personality. Our goal here is to start looking at our past experiences a little differently. We want to reach a point in the story where we say, I am the hero of my story. And I will not let my past keep me in a victim mindset. I have the power, and I am the hero and narrator of my story. I want you to start looking at your life as if you are in a relationship with your life, because you actually are. Like any relationship, you have good times and bad times. Events happen, stuff happens, and when you really love someone you have a relationship with, you want to heal it, right? If something is not going so well in your relationships, you want to make it better, right? I want you to feel the same about your life. You and your life are in a relationship. That same effort that you put into romantic relationships or friendships, you gotta put that effort into your relationship with your life. By the way, the more you heal your life, your stories, the better that you retell your stories, the better your relationships with people will be. Either they will fall away and better people will come into your life, or your perception will change of the current people you have and you might view them differently, perhaps in a little bit more compassionate way and understanding way. It really depends on quite a few factors. But it's no secret that the more you work on yourself, the better people you attract in your life, in your current vibration or frequency. Many of us go through life in a reactive way, meaning we see everything happening in our life like it's happening to us and not for us. I don't know if you have realized this, but life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. This means that we can use everything that comes into our experience, whether it's negative or positive, we can use it to our benefit. This is actually living consciously and authentically. This is what it is. So this is how we want to see our life experiences or stories. They happen for us, not to us. All those times we got rejected, hurt, fell down, and so on, they happened for us. These situations presented themselves to us in order for us to grow and learn. It may sound a bit unempathetic saying that, especially towards anyone that may have experienced extremely traumatic events. But when I say life happens for us, I mean, what strength came from your experience? What lessons did you learn? Can your story of being the hero save someone else's life? Perhaps if you kept yourself in the victim mindset, you would not save the life of another person. When you stay in the victim, or when you stay as the victim in your story, you will unfortunately not get to experience life as fully as you want it. It will be like you always have a ceiling and walls around you, and you won't be able to go further than that. You will exist, but you won't be living. You will just float by in your life and you will just survive, and that's it. You will do the absolute minimum basic things that you need to do to survive and get by. And then what? You will die. You will exist and die. But you will not live and die. However, when you live according to life happens for us, oh wow, what a life you will have. The walls and ceiling will just blow away. You will have no restrictions. Anything that happens to you, good or bad, you will be like, okay, you know what? That happened for me, not to me. I learned something. I am stronger. Every time you fall down, you will stand back up with happiness and love. There will be no shame, no embarrassment. You will just dust yourself off. Maybe you will laugh at yourself a little bit and you will keep going. You won't be existing. You will be living. You will be in full power. Whereas when you feel life happens to you, you will be in a total powerless state. This is the victim state. This suppresses your growth and your potential. You do not want that. Or maybe you do. You know what? Some people, they are comfortable. But I definitely don't. I also don't surround myself with anyone who has that mindset that life happens to them. No, thank you. Remember when I mentioned earlier that the meaning you give creates the lens through which you look and see the world. It's like wearing a set of glasses, and you can change how you see the world depending on the glasses you wear. That's what I mean. The story you decide to tell you about your life influences the type of glasses that you'll be wearing. Sometimes it takes you to reach the absolute lowest point in your life, where you are just so tired of feeling sorry for yourself, or you are just tired of your bad habits, or making excuses, to reach a point where you make the changes and you step into being the hero of your story rather than the victim. Sometimes it just takes a decision that you just want more in this life. You don't want to just exist, you want to live. It's important to know that you don't need to hit rock bottom to actually make changes in your life. For many people, it does happen that way. But for others, they might have all the money, or they might have the best job, or they might have whatever it is, but there might just be absolutely no happiness inside them. They might not be fulfilled. Sometimes when you have an amazing job, it doesn't mean it's a job for you. You might have a high salary, but you might be feeling absolutely empty inside, like a robot just going to work and coming back, and going to work and coming back. So sometimes you just get tired of that feeling, and you just make a decision that you want more in this life. So how do we reframe the way we see our life experiences? How do we reframe our stories to where we are not the victim anymore, but the hero? The first step is literally just realizing that your story can change. This is the first understanding. Even if you have no idea where to go from there, that is the first understanding, that you can mold, like Play-Doh, you can mold your story. I want you to imagine right now. I want you to close your eyes. No, if you are driving, do not close your eyes. Okay, let's just imagine. Let's not close our eyes. Let's just imagine that you are standing on the ground and there is a long line in front of you. Okay? And on each side of that line is two different realities. The one reality is the one you have now. The other reality on the other side of that line is the one that you dream of. The one where you are doing everything you love. The one where you walk with confidence. The one where you are so wealthy. The one where you have all the success, whatever success may mean for you. The one where you are not afraid of rejection. The one where you aren't afraid to say no to people. The one where you are experiencing laughter and happiness and joy like you have never before. So now look at this line. You can literally stand over the line. So if you're standing now in your current reality, you have the power now to just take your foot and put your foot into the other side of the line, into your new reality. It's exactly the same where you are standing at the border of a country and you take one step over the line and then you're in the other country. And then you go back over the line and then you're back in that country. You know what I mean? So think of it like that. Now, once you make the decision to stand in your new reality, it's time to show up and live your new reality, to live your new story. What kind of life do you want to create this very moment? You can start at any moment. You don't have to wait for Monday or tomorrow or the first of the month or New Year's Day. We've all done that, by the way. You don't need to. You can literally start right now. You can actually see your life story as a movie. There is a main character, which is you, a plot, suspense, laughter, and so on. And something to remember about your movie is you're always in the process of writing your story, and this becomes your life. Usually, during the whole day, we are telling ourselves stories about what's going on, about how wrong other people are, about this one who did that one, who did this thing, and how wrong it was. Or we think about how good or bad we are at certain things, and so on. So let's start to become aware of your stories throughout the day. What dialogue is running through your head? Are you stuck on certain stories? Is there like a negative loop in your mind that's just replaying over and over again? Start to notice them from today. After this podcast, just start to notice your stories. What are you telling yourself? This is your first task. Take notes if you need to. I want you to understand something. The difference between your reality now and the one you desire is simply the story we tell ourselves about who we are. The difference between your current reality and the one that you want or desire is simply the story we tell ourselves about who we are. Here is a small exercise that you can do. It's 3 different tasks, okay? You will start with your past. Write the story of your past. Let it flow. Write it all out. Think about the challenges you've overcome and the personal strengths that you have that have helped you overcome those challenges. Okay? Number 2, after you've done that, you're going to write about your current reality, aka your present, right now. Describe your current reality, your present reality, and who are you now? Who are you right now? How are you different from your past self? What are your new strengths now? What challenges are you facing now? Your future. This is the 3rd step. Write about your ideal future. How will your life be different than it is now? How will you be different than you are now? How would you need to show up in order to have this new reality? So think about these 3 things. You can just get a notepad and a pen and go through it. A great way to see the power of changing your life story is to think of your favorite movies, especially the ones where they have the hero of the movie and the hero had to overcome a lot to get where he is at the end of the movie with the happy ending. Now imagine if that hero of the story didn't defeat his enemies or whatever because of his story of his past. Imagine Harry Potter doesn't fight Voldemort because it's just too hard and he makes the excuse that he's not good enough. I mean, that's crazy. Now apply that to any story that you'd like. What if the hero of that story in that movie just didn't want to conquer whatever it was in that story because of a story that he's telling himself, because he didn't believe in himself because something happened in his past? It's absolutely crazy. No ways. You can change your story and you can be the hero. If we are not succeeding at something, it's quite probably because we are telling ourselves the wrong story. What are you currently trying to achieve, but you're struggling to succeed with it? It's definitely not because you can't. I promise you that. But it is because of the current story you are telling yourself about why you can't succeed in that certain thing. Start small. Start with small stories. Take a small task right now that you are struggling to do. Perhaps it's trying to work out, eating healthy, you're trying to meditate, you want to cook, you're trying to learn a new language, or you want to start your dream business. Now, what story comes up when you think of this? Or if you can't think of a story, what feeling or feelings come up? What image did your mind conjure up? What image comes into your head? Was it a sad little person who feels sorry for themselves and just decides to give up and go back to just existing? Or was it a badass, strong woman that is like, oh, hell no, I will not let my thoughts get the better of me? What I want for you is to always imagine you are putting on your superhero suit and fighting against these obstacles. Do not let your story or stories you are telling yourself get in the way of your success. Whatever your success may be, don't let your stories get in the way. Every time you're struggling with something, ask yourself, what story have I been telling myself about what I'm struggling? What is the pattern? What is the same thought that is going through your mind when you are trying to succeed with something? Remember, your stories are like Play-Doh. You can mold them as you wish. Now, make a playlist today with all the songs that make you feel like a hero you are. Like the hero you are already, and show up as if you are living your new story. I want you to walk around today as if you are living your new story, as you are the hero that overcame all those traumatic events, all those hard times. You are the hero. You are not the victim. All right? Okay, if you need any further help, find me on Instagram, The Inner Stuff, and shoot me a DM. I'll be so happy to answer questions. Let me know. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day or night, whatever time you're listening to this. So much love. Bye.